Darren, thank you very much indeed. The atmosphere is building here at the Emirates. Aston Villa, the first to take the field. And here come Arsenal as well in their red tracksuit tops, white shorts and red and white striped socks. The two teams lining up in front of us. Big Arsenal badges on the flags on the far side of the ground. It's the Arsenal home fixture for the No Room for Racism campaign by the Premier League as well. The players, of course, will take a knee before kick-off. So after watching his side score 7 goals in their opening 8 games, Mikel Arteta has handed a first league start of the season to Alexandre Lacazette, scorer of that 95th minute equaliser here on Monday night. He raised the atmosphere when he came onto the field. It went bonkers when he put the ball in the back of the net, and that brought Patrick Vieira to his knees in the Palace technical area, a legend returning to Arsenal. Lacazette has scored 8 goals in his last 9 starts in all competitions dating back to February. His only other start this season was against Wimbledon in the Carabao Cup. He scored. He's only played 72 minutes as a substitute in the Premier League so far this season. So it looks like a 4-2-3-1 for Mikel Arteta's side. In goal, Aaron Ramsdale. A back four from right to left. Tomiyasu, White, Gabriel and Nuno Tavares makes his first Premier League start. Kieran Tierney is out with a bruised ankle. Central midfield, Thomas Partey and Albert Lokonga. The wide men, Bukayo Saka, he's recovered from that thumping tackle from James McArthur that led to his substitution on Monday night against Palace. Bukayo Saka is on the right-hand side with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang on the left, who has scored in his last 3 league games here. Emile Smith-Rowe, subject of those cheeky bids, says Alan Hutton from Aston Villa during the summer. He's in behind Lacazette. Villa, they are unchanged from Saturday's late collapse against Wolves. They conceded 3 times in the last 11 minutes. Martinez in goal, of course, formerly of Arsenal, won an FA Cup with them before leaving for Aston Villa because Mikel Arteta couldn't guarantee him the number 1 spot, and subsequently Ramsdale's been bought to take over Bernd Leno, but Martinez is having a good time of it at Aston Villa. A back 3 for the 6th consecutive Premier League game of Konsa, Tuanzebe and Mings. The wing-backs Matty Cash and Matt Targett. Central midfield is Douglas Luiz and John McGinn, who was on the score sheet against Wolves, as was Danny Ings. He's alongside Emiliano Buendia and Ollie Watkins in a front 3. Watkins scored 3 goals against Arsenal last season. Villa did the double, scoring 4, conceding none. In fact, they've won 3 in a row against Arsenal, conceding no goals in the process. Big night for both of these teams, and you can sense it in the atmosphere, the roar that greeted the Arsenal players as they came out of the tunnel, and now just ahead of kick-off as well. Craig Pawson is our referee. He's got his turquoise shirt on, ready to get things underway. Arsenal, in their traditional red and white, will be kicking from left to right as we look at things. It's all navy blue for Aston Villa. They'll be kicking from right to left, and the players take the knee to widespread applause in their continuing stance against racism and discrimination in all of its forms. The 9th round then of Premier League is underway at the Emirates, where round 8 was completed in dramatic style on Monday with Lacazette's 95th minute equaliser, snatching a point against Crystal Palace. And you get the sense, Lee Dixon, alongside me here tonight, this is a big night for both teams, isn't it?
Well, it is, when you see the position they're both in. Mid-table, you'd look at it maybe sometimes. Actually, Ollie Watkins now has just had a little coming together with Gabriel straight from the kick. The ball went over the top, and just before he was trying to let it run back to Ramsdale, and Ollie Watkins tried to get in the way, and Gabriel took one on the ankle, I think, and he turned round. He wasn't very happy with that, and straight away Craig Pawson's got 15 men around him, just circling him, trying to get their opinion all at once in his ear.
Well, inside the first minute, and Craig Pawson is sending all the other players away, and he's going to have a chat here with Ollie Watkins. Whether there was a lash out with his boots, there was certainly a push as well, and he's gone to his pocket, and it's a yellow card. So the challenge was after, 30 seconds or so? Let's take a look. We've got little monitors here, Lee, in front of us.
Yeah, Ramsdale came out of the box and tried to pretend he was going to kick the ball and let it run into the box, and Ollie Watkins thought he could get a little nibble at it, stuck his foot, but unfortunately kicked Gabriel's ankle, and Gabriel didn't like that, turned round, squared up to each other a little bit a little bit feisty in the first minute, but a booking for Watkins, which is after 20 seconds, is not the greatest.
Buendia plays the ball forward, looking for Danny Ings. It was behind him. Watkins looking to put the high press on Gabriel, but here come Arsenal for the first time down the left-hand side through Smith Rowe, and the square ball to Lacazette. An applause straight away for Alexandre Lacazette, making his first Premier League start of the season. Raised the roof on Monday night with that equaliser against Palace. Saka, square to Partey. Lokonga, wide on the left-hand side to Nuno Tavares, signed from Benfica during the summer. Kieran Tierney out with that bruised ankle. It's slow possession play here at the moment for Arsenal. Gabriel almost caught in possession by Watkins. Arsenal have it on the right-hand side, tight to the touch line is Saka. Down the line, Zet in an offside position, so the ball is recycled across from right to left, White to Gabriel. And then Emile Smith-Rowe was away on that left-hand side with Aubameyang slightly narrower. Smith-Rowe got the ball 15 yards outside the penalty area, tried the square ball to Bukayo Saka. That was intercepted. Long clearance forward by Villa, but Arsenal have started the quicker of the two sides.
Well, Smith-Rowe starting on that left-hand side, Saka on the right-hand side, and Aubameyang down the inside left and Lacazette down the inside right. They're playing four up the top at the moment, but I think it's Lacazette's job just to go into that number 10 area, to have a little wander around. We thought it might be Smith-Rowe, but he's on that left, and certainly in that inside left position, that's where Aubameyang likes.
Excellent ball by Partey, right side of the penalty area. Saka, ball to the back post, the overhead kick, it's a missed kick, and Saka comes in with the left foot and puts it over the crossbar. Lovely football by Arsenal. Saka was involved. The spectacular attempt by Aubameyang at the back post didn't quite get it right, and we've almost had the first goal.
Well, Matty Cash gets drawn out of position, and Saka's on the right on his own, and he just opens himself up, puts the ball up on his left foot to the far side, and Aubameyang has got so much time. He's a yard off the line, and the angle's bad, and the overhead kicks it. It absolutely hits him on the knee, and for him, I'm just saying, it's a difficult angle for him to get it in, but the actual ability of him to get the bicycle kick off, he perhaps should have done a little better. He had so much time, and Aston Villa were caught out both on this right hand side and at the far post on the left.
Dean Smith says his team have the mentality to overcome the late horror show against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Remember, they conceded 3 times in the last 11 minutes. Dean Smith said he insisted on watching those last 15 minutes before addressing the team. Here come Arsenal again, what a chance over the crossbar. Tavares broke into the penalty area, showed tremendous pace to get to within 8 yards of goal and smashed the shot over the bar.
Well, he stole the ball off Cash on that left-hand side in the left-back position, and then he just, you know what, he just looked like he was Tierney at that left-back position. He just opened his legs up and just said, I'm going to take you on, Konza, I'm going to knock it down the side. It was Twanzebe actually, knocked it down the outside of him, and the finish was woeful. He was only about 6 yards out in the end, but great pressing from the full-back.
Lee, one of the criticisms of Arsenal, particularly after the Palace game, the ball was played back by Mings there to Martinez, who took it on the goal line, just casually played it out wide to the right-hand side. Have it back again, is that they were too passive. This has been an excellent, energetic start to the game by the Gunners. They were outpassed in that first half, 350 to 178 by Crystal Palace at home. That's not good enough for an Arsenal team, is it?
No, you can't allow that. And one of the things that you've got when you're playing at home, and it sounds obvious, but you've got that energy from the crowd. They all want you to do well. They don't come here just to sit here and you go entertain it. They all want you to do well. So if you give them anything from the first minute, they will get behind you, and that's what you've got to use as a player when you're playing at home, and away from home you've got to try and do the opposite. You've got to quieten the crowd down, and Arsenal started so well.
That was a foul by Partey, and Aston Villa have a free kick inside their own half of the field, some 10 yards in from the left touchline. Tyrone Mings sends it forward with the left foot, but there's nobody there. Aston Villa have been unsettled at the start of this game, and I wonder if it's a little carryover from the end of the game against Wolves at Villa Park last weekend. The home fans are in good voice. Arsenal starting the game very well indeed. Here they come again. Ben White surging down the centre of the pitch. He's run a full 40, 50 yards with the ball at his feet. He's gone past 3 Villa players as if they weren't there. Smith Rowe, Tavares on the overlap in the penalty area. Left-hand side, cross comes in straight to Martinez.
Well, it's fantastic from Ben White. He just got the ball and said, you know what, I'm going to run into that space you leave grass in front of me, I'm going to surge into it, and he did that, got it on his left foot and just slipped the ball to Tavares again, who's been more forward than he is defending at the back. Great run from Ben White.
Well, Nuno Tavares has started the game very well indeed. He's had to wait his time. Kieran Tierney, the starting left-back, of course. 4 substitute appearances in the Premier League for Tavares. The last one was against Tottenham in the victory here in the North London derby. He has started both EFL Cup games. Cost £8 million from Benfica in July. He's Portuguese, an under-21 international. And he's got forward a couple of times to great effect. It's a foul that's been awarded by Craig Pawson for a foul on Martinez, the goalkeeper, on the edge of the penalty area by Aubameyang as he was taking the goal kick. So Martinez in all yellow.
You used to be able to do that, didn't you? But jump in front of the goalkeeper.
It's still
stop him kicking it.
He's still in possession, isn't he? Until the ball is struck. Miscue by Tyrone Mings, just over the head of Dean Smith in the Villa technical area. He's got his black bomber jacket on, hands deep in his pockets. Grey flecks at his hair. A very smart looking Mikel Arteta has grey trousers on, hands deep in his pockets as well, peering out on the action. He'll be pleased with his side start, certainly the intensity, and there could be something here for Aubameyang. Aubameyang puts it in the back of the net, but it won't count. Craig Pawson has spotted a foul in the build-up to that goal. It was a tidy finish by Aubameyang.
Yeah, it's Konza, I think, just bundled to the ground, and I think Craig Pawson got that up just about right.
It's Lacazette who was battling for possession against Ezri Konza. Konza trying to shield the ball. He was in his own penalty area. They're having real trouble working their way out from the back here at the moment. Aston Villa, his first initial challenge, got the ball, then I think his momentum took him into Konza and bundled him over. Feisty start to the game out here at the Emirates. 5 Live Sport, Arlo White and Lee Dixon. Arsenal 0, Aston Villa 0. Craig Pawson just trying to calm everybody down. Villa have a free kick, a yard inside from the left touchline, 15 yards inside the Arsenal half of the field. Matt Targett is going to take this one. Started 7 of the 8 Premier League games this season. Plays it down the line along the floor to Ollie Watkins, left corner of the penalty area. He pokes it back to Targett. The angle wasn't right for a first-time cross, so back he goes to McGinn. His cross takes a deflection. They're queuing up here, and Danny Ings almost got a head to it. It was Matty Cash at the far post who got their header back across the penalty area. And in the end, it's out for a corner kick to Aston Villa, and John McGinn will stride across to take it. Got his second Premier League goal of the season against Wolves last weekend. But once again, he scored and Villa lost. They've lost 6 of the 7 Premier League games he's scored in, so not always a good omen. 2 arms raised for McGinn. Left-footed, swings it in towards the back post. The heads go up, Tavares wins it. And actually, Ramsdale's able to just catch the ball by his right-hand post to prevent another corner. He overarms it brilliantly out to the right-hand flank to Bukayo Saka. Saka working against Konza and Twanzebe. Here come Arsenal through Smith Rowe down the left-hand side to Tavares. Tavares on his left foot, cross towards the back post. Targett heads behind for the corner kick.
Well, he's been involved in everything, Tavares, on that left side. Just whipping it into the far post, and Saka just coming in at that. Almost on the blind side of the defender, but headed out for a corner.
Which Saka will take, left-footed. Plenty of movement in that penalty area. It's not the best of corners, though. Edge of the area, Smith Rowe with the shot, that's blocked. And Smith Rowe gathers the loose ball and rolls it back to the penalty area. Tavares, Smith Rowe on the left-hand side. Back it goes here to Partey. Tries a very long-range effort, but wins the ball back against Danny Ings, and a sliding challenge to retain possession. But Villa have it back, and John McGinn is fouled. Craig Pawson says free kick in the midfield area, about 10 yards or so inside the Aston Villa half of play. It's still 0-0 here at the Emirates. It's a lively start. We're just having one or two technical issues, so Lee Dixon is currently out of the game. You take a nice swig of your cup of tea I got you a little earlier on, Lee. Just keep that larynx nice and warm for when we get you back. Here's Martinez. Tyrone Mings. Martinez won't like the fact that the ball was played back to him about 3 or 4 feet off the ground, and Martinez gives the ball straight to Tomiyasu. Tomiyasu is headed forward. Mings with a challenge on Lacazette, who's down on the ground, and Craig Pawson will come across because it's a potential head injury. I don't think it was a foul called by Craig Pawson, more that Lacazette might need attention here, and Dean Smith has his hands on his head because Aston Villa may have been able to break away towards Aaron Ramsdale's goal, but Lacazette remains down on the ground. This is slightly worrying for Arsenal. 12 minutes gone. Arsenal nil, Aston Villa nil. Just taking a little look at the replay here. Lacazette goes flying in, and it's one of those situations where the taller man Mings leads with his right arm to gain balance, and I think the elbow's gone right into the side, either of the face or the neck of Alexandre Lacazette. Remember starting a Premier League game for the first time since April the 18th against Fulham. Scored that 95th minute equaliser here on Monday night against Crystal Palace. He's back on his feet, which is good news, and the players have used it as an impromptu time-out, and they've all gone across to the managers to have a tactical chat in the early stages. Craig Pawson will, I'm sure, decide that there's a drop ball as the players now go back out onto the field. Lee Dixon, can you hear me? Lee Dixon,
I don't want to tempt fate, but I think I'm back. People at home would be turning off in their droves now.
Oh, there's celebrations. There's street parties across the nation.
I had a bit of a weird double echoey sort of thing going on. I mean, one of me's bad enough, but to hear two of me.
Long ball forward, Lacazette looks okay. Lovely ball, volleyed ball back towards Smith Rowe. Lacazette went for the return and then went to ground, and the Emirates faithful are on their feet, baying Craig Pawson to award the free kick. He didn't. Martinez rolls the ball out to the feet of Axel Tuanzebe.
Well, you can feel the energy in the crowd as well. Every time something happens, every time there's a challenge, it's a real physical game. The fans are on the feet, they're up off the chairs, and there's a real buzz about the stadium at the moment.
Aston Villa at the moment, Lee, can't put two passes together, can they? They're so lively, Arsenal, in winning the ball back. Villa look rattled in the early stages. The Villa player is down on the far side. Dean Smith is pointing to him. Tomiyasu, it's not a head injury though, so the referee won't stop this. Tomiyasu here against Matt Targett down the Arsenal right-hand side. It's off Targett and then Tomiyasu, and it's behind for a goal kick.
Well, Tomiyasu did really well initially. He just took Targett on, but he backed off, kept his eye on the ball, didn't commit to anything, and then in the end Tomiyasu just run out of ideas.
So Martinez will take this goal kick. He's got Tyrone Mings alongside him on the edge of the 6-yard box. Alexandre Lacazette has had a lively start to the game as well. It looks like Martinez was tempted to go long, but then plays it to Tyrone Mings, and this is where Aston Villa have had real problems playing the ball out of the back, and it's a chip towards the halfway line down the left-hand side by Mings. It was a tussle for possession between Watkins and Tomiyasu. Once again, Arsenal have won the second ball. Here's Lacazette, and chips it towards the edge of the penalty area in Bukayo Saka. Saka again with the header, but he's coming back from an offside position, and Aston Villa can relieve the pressure a little bit. If you're under pressure like Aston Villa, Lee, are here, why would you continue playing it short and playing it out of the back when you can't put two passes together? Why wouldn't you just try and relieve things and get the ball down the other end just to have a few moments respite?
Well, just because one thing's going wrong, you don't change the whole philosophy and just keep working at what you've done on the training pitch. The trouble at the moment is that Ings, Watkins and Buendia are staying quite high, and the back four of Arsenal taking care of them, and in the midfield Luis and McGinn are just getting outnumbered because Lacazette is just dropping in the 10 and no one's picking him up, so there's always an extra man. Arsenal have got an extra man in midfield and they're taking full advantage of that. They're getting the momentum towards the Villa goal, and they can't stem the flow at the moment, Aston Villa, and they've just got to maybe drop one of those strikers back into midfield just to make the numbers equal, and then you do that for 5 or 10 minutes and then you start to see the change. The pattern of play changes. At the moment they're just dominating midfield, Arsenal.
Tuanzebe's header fell to Thomas Partey, who had the freedom of the midfield here at the Emirates, and he finds Emile Smith-Rowe, subject of those 2 bids from Aston Villa, which certainly showed what they were all about in the summer and their ambition to sign good players. I think Dean Smith was keen on putting Smith-Rowe with Grealish and Buendia. That would have been some front three behind Ollie Watkins. Here's Tomiyasu, and he gets underneath a shot from 25 yards, just to the right of centre. It was always rising and goes into the crowd behind the goal.
Yeah, he just opens himself up. He's in a decent position and then just feeds Saka on this right-hand side. He was open in acres of space, but he decided to take the shot on already as the ball's coming to him. You could see it in his mind going, I'm going to get it out of my feet and shoot. And he should have faked the shot and just whipped it outside to Saka, who had loads of space. He could have then whipped the ball into the box, the danger area.
Tomiyasu arrived on deadline day. Hector Bellerin was loaned to Real Betis on the same day. Tomiyasu in from Bologna. Started every game since, and there are the makings of a very good back four here for Arsenal. The flick on by Ings, but straight to the feet of Ben White, who stopped it from reaching a scampering Ollie Watkins down the left-hand side. Aston Villa finally have some possession in the midfield. Matty Cash, who had to go off against Wolves last weekend, into the Arsenal half. John McGinn, left-footed forward, looking for Buendia. Buendia got on the end of it. It was just off his tiptoe, though. Couldn't bring the ball under control, and it's behind for a goal kick. But the first time we've seen Aston Villa really put any decent possession together.
Yeah, it was a good run from out to in. Diagonal, the ball was straight, but Ben White, again, read it really well. His Arsenal career sort of spluttered at the start of it. He had an injury, and I think he was in a position where he got exposed at Brentford first game of the season, and I think that was a bit of a shock to him. It was a bit of a difficult game to go into because he got bullied a little bit, but he's really settled down and he looks a fine player, and certainly one that's on Gareth Southgate's sights. He's been in the squad. It's just a matter of churning out 50, 60 performances week in, week out.
Yeah, Tomiyasu with a lovely ball down the right touch line. Right on the byline is Bukayo Saka being pressured here by Tyrone Mings. Saka back, and he's fouled by Tyrone Mings, and that'll be frustrating for Dean Smith because Saka was going back towards his own goal. Then one untidy lunge from the Aston Villa central defender, and now Arsenal have a free kick in a dangerous position 5 yards in from the right touchline.
Well, it was a silly foul, it really was. And Arsenal now probably 5 or 6 yards outside the box, as you said, Arlo, on 5 or 6 yards from the touchline as well. It's a decent position. Villa going to have to take the line in between the penalty spot and the edge of the penalty area. That's where the defensive line will start, and that just opens up a huge amount of space, about 8 to 10 yards out from the goal, and Martinez is already wandering into that position on the edge of his 6 yard box, just threatening to come out to punch it. And it's just a matter of, can he get, looks like Smith-Rowe and Saka on the ball.
Smith-Rowe leads it. Saka into that corridor of uncertainty. Mings with the header. Oh, it's off the crossbar. So close to the opening goal. Thomas Partey so close to his first Arsenal goal. He was in a seated position, got a foot to it, and it cannoned off the crossbar, and now Arsenal have a corner won by Aubameyang on that far side.
Well, it was a brilliant ball in from Saka with the left foot towards the goal, arrowed into Martinez. He can't come for that. It just bounces down to Partey, and he just flicks the outside of his right foot at it, and it just goes onto the crossbar where the post meets the crossbar, right on the corner. He's so unlucky.
It's his 40th appearance for Arsenal. He's yet to score a goal, Thomas Partey. I doubt he's come closer than that. Corner swung in. The heads go up. It's Mings who gets there first. And now's the opportunity of a counter-attack here for Aston Villa. John McGinn diagonally running across to the left touchline, just into the Arsenal half of play. Who's that off last? He's not getting any help, Craig Pawson, from his assistant, who eventually puts his flag up just in front of us and signals that that's an Aston Villa throw on the left touchline, 20 yards inside the Arsenal half, 20 minutes on the clock. Arsenal 0, Aston Villa 0 here on 5 Live Sport. Thomas Partey has come the closest to opening the scoring, hitting the crossbar just a few moments ago. And on the balance of play, it would be no surprise to see Arsenal in the lead. Partey has won the ball back again, drops it to the Japanese international Tomiyasu, who sends it forward rather aimlessly. Konza sends it back to Tomiyasu in the air. He wins the header above Danny Ings, but there's nobody picking up the second ball once again for Aston Villa, and Arsenal can bring the ball away through Saka. Infield, lovely first time ball by Lacazette, and McGinn goes clattering into Thomas Partey. This is an advantage being played here by Craig Pawson, and John McGinn might be lucky to escape a yellow card when the play is stopped next time. Smith Rowe down the left hand side to Tavares, edge of the penalty area. Smith Rowe on the overlap, shot takes a deflection, wide it goes. Martinez was diving to his right hand side just to see that wide. It's a corner kick.
Well, I think John McGinn should be in the yellow card, but Craig Pawson decided just to have a little chat with him. But again, Tavares involved, hugely involved, onto his right foot, not his strongest, little foot over, and he gets his shot away, and it's a corner. But again, the pressure building on this Aston Villa defence.
A concerned looking Dean Smith in conversation with his assistant Craig Shakespeare down in front of us. The corner comes in, the heads go up, oh, it's a goal, it's the open up. Thomas Partey is celebrating, he might be claiming it. Looks like he's taken a couple of deflections along the way. He hit the crossbar just a few moments ago, but have we just witnessed Thomas Partey's first goal for Arsenal?
Well, everybody run over to Smith Rowe, and he definitely gets the touch on it. And he goes to that near post, he gets in front of everyone, and that's good. Martinez gets his hand to it, but it's definitely Thomas Partey. It's a good ball in from Smith Rowe. He doesn't get an awful lot on it, side of his head, but it doesn't matter. It goes to the bottom of the net via the hand of Martinez, and he'll claim that, there's no doubt about it. He just missed one chance, which is more difficult than that, and it's 1-0 to Arsenal.
A bit of head, a bit of shoulder, a bit of Martinez left hand. He's just slapped himself in the head through frustration. I think Martinez feels that he should have kept that out.
Well, the fact they didn't head it, and he kind of flicked the side of his head and hit the top of his shoulder, probably just fooled Martinez to think he hadn't got any contact on it. It was the faintest of contact on the head, and they're having a little VAR check, I'm pretty sure about this, but it won't be cancelled. It was at the top of his shoulder it hit and went into an area the goalkeeper would think there's no one challenging him, should be able to get a hand on that, but he was fooled by the flight of the ball after it hit his shoulder.
23 minutes gone here at a very lively Emirates Stadium on the Friday night football here in the Premier League, and it's Arsenal 1, Aston Villa 0. Thomas Partey with his first Arsenal goal in this, his 40th appearance for the club. He'd hit the crossbar only 5 minutes or so before. Here comes Danny Ings for Aston Villa towards Matt Targett at the back post. He wins his header against Saka, but it drops to Tomiyasu, who then launches the ball into the Villa half. Martinez picks it up. This is where Arsenal have to be careful. After taking the lead early on against Crystal Palace, they sat back and were very passive, and Palace dominated the rest of the half. Well, Aston Villa have been dominated so far in the early stages.
Sorry, Arlo, but I'm just looking, as you said that, Arteta, the ball went into midfield, and he was pleading, shouting at his back four to press up, and that pushes the midfield forward as well onto the ball. Well, that's how you press. You've got to do it in lines, you've got to all go together. The distances between the different lines has got to be equal. No point one pressing a bit further up the pitch and you staying back. It's just getting his back four up.
Only Norwich and Watford have won possession fewer times in the middle third of the field than Arsenal so far this season. And Saka is going to be penalised by Craig Pawson. It's a free kick to Aston Villa just inside their own half towards their left-hand side. Well, all was looking good for Dean Smith with 11 minutes to go at Villa Park last weekend. The co-owner, Wes Edens, had flown in for the game as well at Villa Park for the first time in over 2 years. Then a horrible last 11 minutes. They lose 3-2 to Wolves, and they've not been at the races so far here in North London tonight, and they trail Arsenal by a goal to nil. Lacazette swings a lovely ball on the halfway line towards the left-hand side to Emil Smith-Rowe, who's had a good game so far. Socks at half-mast. Back he goes to the halfway line, Nuno Tavares. Now it's Gabriel, who's been incredibly solid at the back this season so far, alongside Ben White for the Gunners. Patient build-up play here by the home side. Good atmosphere inside the Emirates tonight. I think everybody present realises, in terms of both teams' seasons taking shape in the opening 10 games, how significant this game is, with Arsenal in 12th and Villa in 13th. Saka tried to play the ball through towards Aubameyang just failed to do so. The Arsenal fans are on their feet claiming there was a foul on Lacazette, who's limping away, just favouring that right foot slightly, and the ball's back with Martinez, the goalkeeper.
Well, it's a lovely aggressive game of football. There's loads of little things going on after the ball's gone. I'm not condoning violence by any means, but it's just a competitive game. Both teams want to win, and at the moment Arsenal are enforcing their midfield onto Aston Villa's, and they're winning it. Just got to be careful. Arteta's trying to get his back line to come up, and that's fine, but he's the manager, he's the coach, he's not on the pitch, and sometimes a back four knows a little bit better, and they've just got to make sure they don't push up too much. There's one ball over the top with Ings, Watkins and Buendia on the pitch is going to be trouble, so they've just got to get that right, make sure there's pressure on the ball.
Craig Pawson gave a yellow card to Tyrone Mings for that challenge on Lacazette a few moments ago. Lacazette has given the ball away on the edge of the Aston Villa penalty area, but Arsenal had it back through Thomas Partey. Then he was tackled successfully by Danny Ings, and now Buendia, who's yet to really get going, having taken that number 10 shirt for Aston Villa off Jack Grealish, who departed for Manchester City. It was Villa who outbid Arsenal for his services, the Argentine, and he has got one goal so far this season, but there's a lot of creative responsibility placed at his feet, in the absence, of course, of Jack Grealish, to get this Aston Villa side moving. Here's Luis on the end of that throw-in from Matt Targett, across to the right-hand side to Ezri Konsa. As Aston Villa look a little shell-shocked in the early stages of this game, after 25 minutes trailing Arsenal here by 1-0. They haven't created anything of note so far. Konsa to the right touchline, inside to McGinn. McGinn with the left foot to Tyrone Mings. He plays it side-footed out to the left touchline to Targett. Targett will loft the ball into the penalty area, left side of the penalty area to Watkins. He'll follow his own ball in, and then his cross was very disappointing. Hit the first man, Tomiyasu, who's now in support of Bukayo Saka, and Tomiyasu is still going. Saka's in possession. Tomiyasu won't get on the end of that, but it was a super idea. A brilliant break by the Japanese fullback. Just failed to find him there, Bukayo Saka, and he'll be breathing rather heavily after that.
Yeah, he did everything right, Bukayo Saka, apart from the pace on the ball. He waited till Mings started to come over to close him down. That opened up the gap for Tomiyasu to run on the inside, the underlap, but the ball was just hit a little bit too hard. The covering defender came over, but again a good break from Arsenal. And they're 3 across, just behind Aubameyang is really working. And Lacazette just dropping into that space. And they can't find the answer, Aston Villa, to stop the flow.
28 minutes in, almost 29 minutes, and Villa are yet to have a shot in the game. Remember, playing 2 up top, Danny Ings and Ollie Watkins, and they're not combining at all at the moment. Ings tried to find Watkins there, but was outnumbered completely. Aston Villa have it back, though. Tuanzebe on loan for the 3rd time at Aston Villa from Manchester United. Into the midfield it goes to Buendia, back again to Ezri Konsa, and Konsa and Aston Villa just trying to take a bit of the sting out of the game here as we approach the half-hour mark. Thomas Partey with the only goal so far from that Saka corner. His first goal for Arsenal, who lead Aston Villa here by 1-0. Danny Ings rolls it back for John McGinn. Here's Targett on the left touchline. Back to John McGinn again, the Scottish international, who rolls it, trying to anticipate the run being made by Buendia, but Emil Smith-Rowe was able to make the challenge. Now he's in possession, surging into the Aston Villa half. Down the left-hand side he goes. It's through towards Tavares. Tavares squares it. Saka, surely, what a save by Martinez, and Saka with the freedom of the entire penalty area, so it seems. The flag stayed down. Martinez made himself big, made the save. It should have been 2.
Well, what a break. And Tavares again, how many times have we said his name? He just gets the ball fed on the inside and he's through, and he just looks up. Mings gets drawn into the middle. He thinks he's going to go into the middle of the park, and he's not. Saka's on the far side, completely free. Martinez goes to ground early, a little dink, and it's surely 2-0, but he hits it on the ground, and that allows the goalkeeper just to get his boot on it.
Another corner is swung in, is headed virtually off the goal line by Matty Cash. Won back by Lokonga, and he has a right-footed volley. Just tried to slice across it and puts it wide. But Lokonga, another of the summer signings between the ages of 21 and 24, made by Mikel Arteta during the summer. And Arsenal very good value for the lead given to them by Thomas Partey with that header, that glancing header at the near post that clipped off his shoulder as well and evaded Martinez, who desperately tried to keep the ball out of the back of the net but was beaten despite getting his right hand to it. That's an Aston Villa free kick, 10 yards short of the halfway line, the foul on Douglas Luiz. And at the moment Aston Villa are rabbits in the headlights here. They can't string anything together in an attacking sense, and Arsenal look like scoring every time they come forward. Here's concept for Aston Villa. Can they break through the lines here through an energetic Arsenal side? Twanzebe. And again, dispossessed. They're sloppy in possession here so far tonight, Aston Villa. McGinn with a challenge on Lokonga. He didn't get a yellow card for the previous one. I think Craig Pawson has just pointed over to that general area where the previous challenge happened as he brandishes a yellow card to John McGinn. There was no real need for him to make a challenge of that severity, but he'd just given the ball away. He was frustrated, and I think that's a sign of the wider frustration being felt here by Aston Villa in the early stages of the game, Lee.
Well, they haven't had a kick really, have they? And they've been chasing shadows, and McGinn there, as you said, it was frustration. He got pressed, he got the ball taken off him. Lokonga just took it off him and he went chasing it, and when you do that, you've then got to calm yourself down, because it's only a matter of time before you put your foot where you shouldn't. It gives a free kick away and a booking to boot.
McGinn and Mings are in the book for Aston Villa. Free kick floated in. He's completely lost his balance there, Matt Targett, as he was trying to clear it. No harm done. The ball just trickled back to Martinez, the goalkeeper.
Well, it's almost like he lost complete understanding of where he was. His legs went up in the air. He seemed to fall over and then threw his boot at it to try and clear it at the last minute, and it just rolled back to Martinez. But again, another dangerous free kick given away by Villa, and as you said before, Arlo, all out of frustration because they keep getting pressed. They haven't got enough quality on the ball or time on the ball to get their front men in the game. A big long ball from McGinn now, that's basically what they've got. Haven't got any decent ball from midfield into the 10 and then out wide to Watkins, and the two wing backs who are normally quite dominant for Aston Villa basically haven't been in the game. They've just been chasing back to their own goal.
It was a long ball by McGinn towards Matt Targett on the left-hand touchline in the Arsenal half, and Takehiro Tomiyasu doesn't mind a challenge, does he? He's a very physical right back. He won the aerial duel and it was out for an Arsenal throw-in the end. Gabriel in his own penalty area, left-footed, very calmly plays it into the midfield to Lokonga. Wide on the left-hand side, here's Emil Smith-Rowe. Smith-Rowe into the centre circle. Partey turns quickly, but then telegraphed the ball intercepted by Danny Ings. What can Aston Villa do here? Buendia, not a lot. Turns straight into Partey, who atones for that misplaced pass, wins the ball back for his side, and Smith-Rowe has it on the halfway line. Wide it goes on the left-hand side to Aubameyang. Aubameyang with his pace to the byline. Can he get the cross in? It was good defending in the end by Concept, who keeps the ball in and prevents the corner kick as well, and he releases Matty Cash down the right-hand side. It's a very watchable game of football here at the Emirates on this Friday night. 34 minutes gone, Arsenal 1, Villa 0. Arsenal have won the ball back yet again through Nuno Tavares. And here it is now on the left-hand side and goes back to Gabriel, the tall Brazilian centre-back. Ben White, who cost £50 million. Here's Tomiyasu. Back to Ben White with those white sweatbands on his wrists. Number 4 on his back, Patrick Vieira's old number, and it was Arsenal who broke Patrick Vieira's heart on Monday night on his return to Arsenal with that late equaliser in the 95th minute to salvage a 2-2 draw. But Crystal Palace were good value on the night, Arsenal less so. Here's Lokonga. There's been much better in the opening 35 minutes of this one though. Run being made towards the penalty spot by Aubameyang. The cross didn't arrive. It's still with Arsenal, halfway inside their own half. Lovely ball to the edge of the penalty area, and a stinging effort once again by Tavares, who loves getting forward. He's got a real eye for goal as well, and Martinez had to be fully behind that. Didn't have to move for it, but it was a strong effort from the Portuguese under-21 international. Ball forward now to Ollie Watkins, surrounded by red and white shirts, and eventually dispossessed by Ben White.
Well, every single thing that Arsenal have done well has started from Partey and Lokonga in midfield. They have been superb. Every time the ball goes in there from a Villa player, they're pressing, they're harassing, they're winning the ball back, sticking their foot in, and then they deliver. Then they're delivering it to the so-called flair players. Saka, Smith-Rowe, Aubameyang, Lacazette are all being fed by the two holding midfield players, and Villa have got nowhere near him.
Foul by Nuno Tavares means it's a free kick to Aston Villa, and it's 15 yards or so inside the Arsenal half, just to the right of centre. Tyrone Mings is forward waving for the ball as the furthest defender on the left hand side for Aston Villa. Tomiyasu is marking him, and Tomiyasu will win the header. It was floated over the head of Tyrone Mings. He didn't even make an attempt to play the ball. It was so far over his head. But Villa have a throw-in, left touchline, 10 yards inside the Arsenal half. Taken by target to Luis. Twanzebe back to Douglas Luis, who had to make way late on against Wolves, having just returned from South American qualifying. Lovely ball between the lines by Luis, but Ollie Watkins once again can't bring the ball under control, and Arsenal have it back. Here's Lukonga just inside his own half on the left hand side, plays it to Tavares. Infield it goes to the number 10, Emile Smith-Rowe. It's a confident-looking Arsenal. It's an assured-looking Arsenal, and it's an Arsenal who look full of confidence and energy in this first half. Everything that was lacking on Monday night against Crystal Palace. Tomiyasu forward again, flicks a ball with the outside of his right boot to Saka, who's working here against target. Goes one way, then the other, almost gets to the byline. It was a decent half challenge by Buendia. And then a good ball by Saka out to the edge of the penalty area in Smith-Rowe. Arsenal still in possession, and the curling effort will sail harmlessly over the crossbar this time from Nuno Tavares. He doesn't mind having a go, does he?
No, I think that's the order of the day. They get anywhere near the box and they just get the shot away. But that's probably, as far as the midfield with Partey and Lukonga, that's probably the best I've seen the two of them play individually and together. I mean, Lukonga in this first half, down that left-hand side with Tavares, has been superb. Smith-Rowe on that side as well, and Aubameyang going into the inside left position have just been sensational.
Granit Xhaka missing through injury, of course. Martin Odegaard is on the bench tonight. Nicola Pepe also dropped out of the starting 11 after Monday night. Thomas Partey concedes a throwing on the far side. 7 minutes remaining in this first half. How about a little factoid for you, Lee? I know you like these. Arsenal are playing top-flight matches on a Monday and a Friday in the same week for the first time since the festive period, 1987-88. Villa haven't won a top-flight game on a Friday since 1950. 12 without a win.
Hang on, I've got to process those two. I
wouldn't dwell too long on them.
I think I played in those two games you're on about, in 87, 88, whenever it was.
I thought you were going to say 1950. Long throw, well, it wasn't a very long throw actually by Matty Cash in the end. It was headed clear comfortably by Lukonga on the edge of the penalty area. Now it's tight to the right touchline for Aston Villa. Cash plays it down the line, but only as far as Lukonga, who gets a clearance away down the Arsenal left, sent back down the line by McGinn. It's all very tight, it's all very untidy from Aston Villa, and Arsenal have a throw.
It's the new thing now, isn't it? The short, long throw. We've seen that a few times over the last couple of weeks, haven't we? And he's getting ready for a long throw. Oh, it's not so long. I could do that.
It was Brentford last week, and I forget who was taking it, but we described it as the shortest long throw we'd ever seen. Yeah. Approaching the final 5 minutes of a very entertaining first half here at the Emirates. Arsenal lead Aston Villa by a 1-0. Arlo White and Lee Dixon with you on 5 Live Sport. Darren Fletcher and Alan Hudson will be with you at half-time. Here comes Tavares once again. Scamper, he breaks into an actual sprint in possession down the left-hand side. Plays it to Smith-Rowe. Smith-Rowe infield to Partey. And now it's with Alexandre Lacazette, who hasn't had a real good look at goals so far in his first Premier League start of the season. He's not playing as the out-and-out striker, though, more in a number 10 role. He chipped it towards the edge of the penalty area, but it was an Aston Villa defender who headed it away. Now it's Konza, wide on the right-hand side, just trying to make things happen here. Dropping a little deeper is Ollie Watkins, but once again he can't bring the ball under control. First time he's dispossessed. Arsenal have it back for the umpteenth time so far in this first half. Mings plays the ball back to his goalkeeper. Martinez is going to be chased here by Bukayo Saka. He was on the byline, right foot gets sent through it up towards the halfway line. Danny Ings wins a second ball. Luis drops it back to Tyrone Mings, and what can Aston Villa do here? Matt Targett in front of his manager Dean Smith, who's got rid of the puffer jacket. He's got his arms folded, doesn't look particularly happy, and his V-neck Aston Villa sweater.
Well, he's got every right not to be happy because he hasn't got his forwards in the game, and that's Arsenal playing a really high line and pushing them right from behind. We haven't seen one real decent ball over the top or down the sides for the Villa strikers to run onto. So the back four can just keep pressing. They know the ball's not going to go over the top. They've got a bit of pace up there, Villa, but they've not used it. And that's because they haven't got any decent possession in midfield. They've not had the time to knock it over the top. And here's one now.
Yep, McGinn looking for Watkins. He couldn't get beyond Gabriel, who's a very physical defender, and it was one bouncing into the grateful hands of Aaron Ramsdale.
But you have to put doubt in a back four's mind. You've got to say to him, right, every now and again we're going to flip one over the top. How quick are you at the back? Because we've got quick players, and then you play a few short, you bring them on to you, and then you fizz one down the sides. You've just got to make them think all the time. They're not doing that, Villa, at all.
Nice combination between Lacazette and Lokonga. And Partey plays it wide on the left-hand side to Tavares, and he goes one further down that left flank to Smith Rowe. Seems a little reluctant to take players on so far in the first half. Emile Smith Rowe plays it back to Tavares. Here's Smith Rowe again. He's got Saka over on the left-hand side making a diagonal run, finds him. He's got Twanzebe at his back. Latest in Women's World Cup qualifying, half-time, Scotland 1, Hungary 0 in the second half, Slovenia 0, Wales 0. Aston Villa have the ball back in their right-back area, and it's Ezri Konsa. He was almost dispossessed by Lacazette, and Lacazette forces the mistake, and it's an Arsenal throw on the left-hand side, taken quickly, and immediately Lacazette signalled to the crowd to get into it, as he did on Monday night, before and after scoring the 95th minute equaliser. The throwing comes to nothing. In the midfield here is Aston Villa in possession through John McGinn. First time ball out to the right-hand side by Buendia. He gets the return from Cash. They've got players in the penalty area here. It was Ings who was closest to it. Ramsdale had to come off his line 7 yards out to catch the cross.
Yeah, Buendia just finding himself on that right-hand side with a bit of space, and he whipped a decent cross. Needed one of the strikers, Danny Ings or Watkins, to run in front of the defenders, and indeed the goalkeeper, trying to get across the face of the goalkeeper, but it was just too hard hit. They couldn't get there, but that was probably the best cross that they've had into the box from Villa. A little bit of pressure. Dean Smith will be happy about that, but he won't be happy with the performance of this first half, and I'm sure he's got some words to say to him. Just haven't been at the races at all.
He has attacking options, Lee. Doesn't need to bring off the bench Leon Bailey, who we saw this season with a fantastic cameo against Everton when he assisted and scored, and then had to go off injured with that thigh problem that's kept him out until tonight. He's returned to the bench, Leon Bailey. Arsenal in possession in the centre circle inside their own half. Ben White, nice ball and a lovely drop of the shoulder by Lokonga, and he's allowed to just wander towards the edge of the penalty area, slides it into Lacazette. Can he get a shot away? He can't. Twanzebe with the defending, and I think Lacazette has fouled Twanzebe. Well, Craig Pawson says no, it's a corner kick.
Well, great movement again from Lokonga in midfield. He just turns his body, lets it run across him, then he's into that space, and when there's grass there, he runs into it. Always good play, little bit of an angle on the ball to Lacazette into the box, and he can't quite get his shot away, but he gets the corner.
To be taken by Bukayo Saka, left-footed. He'll swing this one in. Plenty forward. Gabriel's at the back post. What can they do from this set piece? They've already scored from one corner here, Arsenal. In it goes, and the header from Partey again at the near post. Got to it ahead of Tyrone Mings and put the header over the crossbar.
Well, he didn't score many. He could have had a hat-trick in this first half. One hit the crossbar. That free header 4 yards out. Mings didn't get in front of him, couldn't stop him, and he just wanders off Mings' shoulder, and that's bad defending from the England defender. He should be looking side on with his body. He's got his back to everything, and he's just looking at the ball.
I'm not sure what's going on at the back here for Aston Villa, Lee, because before the last 11 minutes against Wolves, they conceded 1 goal from set pieces. Then 3 went in from set pieces against Wolves, or goals that were scored after a set piece was taken. The last was a deflected free kick. There was an element of fortune about that, but they've conceded from a corner already tonight, and Partey has hit the crossbar and had another free header. We're going to 2 minutes of time added on at the end of this first half. McGinn is fouled right on the corner, the left corner of the Arsenal penalty area, and this is a late opportunity for Aston Villa to perhaps curl a ball in and to get level before the interval. Groans echo around the Emirates. 1 or 2 people have been stopped in their tracks. They were heading for the coffee stands to buy a pie and a pint perhaps at half time, and 1 or 2 have turned round and gone back to their seats. So defending to be done here for Arsenal before they can go in with this 1-0 lead to the interval.
Well, look, Conga had hold of McGinn's shirt there, and luckily for him, made the foul, but he let go of the shirt just as McGinn got into the box. Otherwise, that could have been quite easily given as a penalty. When you're pulling a shirt, if it continues the foul into the box, the referee's within his rights to give a penalty, and he just let go of the shirt, and this is dangerous.
Arsenal's line 3 yards or so inside the penalty area. 2-man wall. Remember, the free kick is the left corner of the penalty area. McGinn with the left foot is raising his left arm. Buendia is there potentially with the right foot as well. Both take a step towards it and then step back, and then McGinn swings it towards the back post, and that was much ado about nothing. Caught easily by Ramsdale, who sets Arsenal away on the counter-attack. Smith Rowe into the Aston Villa half, threads a ball through, but Tyrone Mings is back covering successfully, gets there ahead of Tavares, who'd overlapped Smith Rowe once again, but it's an Arsenal throw on that left-hand side, level with the edge of the penalty area.
Well, I hope they got plenty of sugar in his tea. Tavares, he's run about 40 mile in that first half, all down that left-hand side, and here he goes again.
All over the top, Tavares takes possession, the flag stays down, he can pick his spot here. The cross comes in, Lacazette's underneath it, falls here to Bukayo Saka on his left foot, tries to square it towards Aubameyang. There's a challenge in the penalty area. Lacazette has gone down, the fans are on their feet, the Arsenal players were appealing. Craig Pawson unmoved, and Lacazette gets slowly back to his feet and is limping heavily on that right leg. No penalty. VAR, of course, will be taking a look in the background.
They definitely will be, because they both went for the ball. I think he was target. Looked like he was going to get the ball first, and Lacazette just stuck his leg across him. Whether he caught the back of Lacazette's Achilles, he looks like he's limping on that right leg, but was there enough contact? Was there contact at all? We couldn't quite see from this area, and we haven't seen a replay yet.
Here come Arsenal again in search of that second goal before the interval. Lacazette on the right-hand side trying to drill a low cross in. It was blocked by Target. Lacazette, lovely turn to spin away from Buendia. Approaching the right side of the penalty area. Does get a low cross in this time. And the ball is sent back to his goalkeeper by McGinn. And Martinez decides not to pick it up. Thumps it clear, but that'll do it. And Ollie Watkins is virtually sprinting towards... Oh, wait a minute. Craig Pawson has been told to go and have a look at the screen. The half-time whistle, I believe, had been blown. Watkins was halfway towards the tunnel area, and Craig Pawson has done the TV sign, and he's going to walk across to the screen on the near side in front of us.
Everybody sit down. Your cup of tea can wait, because the target goes to clear the ball, and Lacazette puts his leg across. He takes contact to the back of his calf, and then he makes contact with the ball. It's whether the referee deems that has contact with the player's leg before he hits the ball, and Target looks a bit worried. I'm just looking down to him, and the fact that VAR have asked him to look at Craig Pawson, he's looking at it now, and everybody else in the stadium has just stood still.
At the moment, we've only got a freeze frame on our monitors here, and I think they're just setting up the monitor for Craig Pawson, and I can see he's got the same. Here we go, slow motion. Well, it's a bit of a hack by Target, and Lacazette does get his foot in front of the ball and in front of Matt Target, who then kicks the back of his heel. What do you think, Lee?
He makes contact with the ball.
It's a penalty.
And he also makes contact with the back of his leg, and the fact that Lacazette's leg is across the defender, that's why Craig Pawson's give that as a foul. If that was me as a defender, I'd think he was very harsh, because he makes contact with the ball, but he also makes contact with his foot. Just look, it comes through. It looks like Lacazette's foot gets planted and then starts to slide. Then the tackle comes in, makes contact with the ball marginally after his leg. And Dean Smith is absolutely furious. Drama at the end of the first half. Everybody's coming flooding back.
Absolutely.
We've got pies and cups of tea in their hand.
Well, and I think, Lee, I stand to be corrected, but I'm pretty sure the half-time whistle was blown, and then Craig Pawson signalled the TV signal, went across to the screen, down to our left-hand side, and didn't reverse his decision, but clearly thought he'd made a clear and obvious error in not awarding Arsenal a penalty kick, and it's Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang who will take it. He's scored his last 7. His last miss was in a North London derby back in 2019. He scored 9 of 11 in his Premier League career. Aubameyang to score in 4 consecutive home games in the Premier League, and perhaps give Arsenal a deserved 2-0 lead at the interval. hands on his hips here. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, Martinez, his former teammate, dancing left to right on his goal line. Aubameyang takes it, saved by Martinez. The rebound is put into the back of the net. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang gives Arsenal a 2-goal lead. Martinez on his return to Arsenal saves a penalty. But there's the Arsenal captain, left-footed, with the goal gaping, rolls it into the back of the net, and Arsenal, deservedly, on the first half balance of play, will go in at half-time, leading by 2-0.
Well, he ran up and down his line, and then he gets right, and it's a good save, spreads himself. He can't do anything about the second one, because he's on the ground, and it bounces very kindly to Aubameyang, and he just puts it in with his left foot. Martinez, head in his hands. But as I said, I was just going to say, Arsenal will be really disappointed they haven't got in further up, and then they get that reprieve. The final whistle goes, and the referee, Craig Pawson, decides that that's a penalty kick, and it's 2-0 Arsenal. And it's about right on the way that the player's gone.
Lee, we've got some questions to ask at half-time here, because it looks like the players are lining up as if to start the game again. Now, if he'd already blown for half-time, then surely you wouldn't kick off again, but Aston Villa did kick off, and then he blew the whistle, so there's no time for any more drama. Well, you take the last 11 minutes at Villa Park last weekend, when they blew a 2-0 lead to lose 3-2 to Wolves, and this first 45, it's a horror show for Aston Villa. But how impressed were you with Arsenal in that first 45 after their performance against Palace on Monday?
Well, they completely dominated, completely opposite of what we saw last week, or the early part of this week. Midfield was dominant, the back four hasn't been troubled. Ings, Watkins and Buendia haven't been in the game. They haven't had any control in midfield. Luis and McGinn have been just chasing shadows, and Partey and Lokonga have set everything up, and then Saka, Smith Rowe, Aubameyang and Lacazette have had a field day up front. Haven't scored up until that penalty enough goals that their play warranted, but that penalty has just settled everybody down here.
Darren, a lively night so far. Thomas Partey scores his first Arsenal goal in his 40th appearance. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang has a penalty saved, sticks home the rebound. A half-time here at the Emirates. Arsenal 2, Aston Villa 0. Yes, we are, Darren. Thank you very much indeed. The second half is underway here, about 30 seconds into it. An interesting half-time substitution by Dean Smith. Leon Bailey, and we suggested, Lee, in the first half that there might be a role for him to play today. He's on the field, but he's stayed in an attacking sort of formation here. He's sacrificed one of his central defenders. So Axel Tuanzebe has gone off. So it's Konza and Mings at the back, and Leon Bailey, who's quick, he's been out with a thigh injury recently, comes onto the field. Dean Smith switched to the back three for the game away at Chelsea. He's had it for the last 5.5 games now, but he's back to the back four.
Yeah, it looks like a 4-2-3-1, and Bailey on this right hand side. Watkins has gone over to the left. Danny Ings up top, and Buendia's just played as a 10 with a 10 on his back, and they're just trying to equal Arsenal's possession in that midfield and also give them an attacking threat. And defensively they were shocking in that first half, so the 4 might do better than the 3 with the 2 wing backs.
Second minute of the second half, Arsenal lead by 2-0. That's a lovely ball forward, and Ollie Watkins having been reprieved in that half-time shuffle gets a shot away, and Ramsdale forced into the save, concedes the corner kick at his near post, and that's the best moment for Aston Villa so far. In fact, it's their first shot. They were outshot 14-0 in the first half.
Well, that was a fabulous ball. It really was. It came to the feet of Buendia, and he just flicked it round the corner for Watkins on that left side. He ran out of pace in the end, but he eventually got his shot away, and Ramsdale did well to sort of scramble it past the post.
We can hear the Villa fans for the first time tonight. It's sent in left-footed. Konza at the back post gets his header back towards the back post, but Arsenal deal with that and hook it out of their penalty area. It's with Buendia now on the right-hand side for Aston Villa, who I'm sure incurred the wrath of Dean Smith at half-time. He said after the game against Wolves that he wanted to watch the final 15 minutes before talking to the team after that match, and then having watched the final 15 minutes and the collapse against Wolves, decided he wasn't going to read the riot act. He'd wait to training to analyse it the following morning. He's a very measured, calm influence, Dean Smith. No free kick to Arsenal. And Aston Villa can bring the ball clear. They've started brightly in the second half, but then Luiz gives the ball away and then gets a second attempt and slides it inside left to Ollie Watkins towards the penalty area. Now the byline, the cross comes in, and Danny Ings on the edge of the 6-yard box goes to ground. Craig Pawson says no penalty. He was challenged. He had his back to goal. He's screaming now at the assistant on the near side, and we play on. Remember, Craig Pawson overturned the decision at the end of that first half. Here's Aubameyang for Arsenal, left-hand side in the penalty area. The shot should come in from Lacazette. It doesn't. It goes back to Lokonga. He gets a shot away, and that's taken a deflection and gone wide of the goal in which Emiliano Martinez is barking at his defenders. It's still 2-0.
Well, it was an arm. Danny Ings saying he got pulled back. He didn't. He went to ground. It was a brief little tug of the shirt there. His left hand actually just gets hold of Danny Ings' shirt, not t-shirt position, just below his bicep, and just gives it a little tug, and he goes down flat on his face. Certainly wasn't enough to pull the striker down, but there was a little bit of contact there.
Smith Rowe curls in the right-footed corner. It's headed clear by Watkins at the back post. Saka, right corner of the penalty area, turns to his right, then to his left, and unleashes a left-footed effort, but it was always rising high and wide. 2-0, Arsenal lead, 49 minutes gone against Aston Villa here on 5 Live Sport, and this is Lee Dixon.
Well, you can absolutely tell what sort of team talk Aston Villa had at half-time, can't you? You can be sitting in that dressing room and hear every word that Dean Smith has said to his players, because there's certainly a few teacups smashed on the dressing room floor, there's no doubt about that. That first half was not acceptable, and they've come out the traps in this second half with a bit more vigour to their play, a bit of a better setup in the 4-2-3-1, in matching Arsenal up in formation, and it's paying off so far in the first 5 or 6 minutes of this second half.
Yeah, they look far livelier. They're playing with a bit more pride in this second half so far. Aston Villa, and here they come down the right-hand side. Matty Cash, right corner of the penalty area, gets underneath the cross, and it sails over the head of Douglas Luiz. Ollie Watkins will try and retrieve it. Tomiyasu, the Japan right back, gets the ball clear in as far as John McGinn. McGinn, right left-footed cross. It takes a deflection. It's Tavares who heads it clear. Chested down by Cash, just outside the penalty area. Now to the left-hand side is Buendia, weaving his way into the area, gets the return ball, he's on the byline, the cut back, here's Danny Ings! His shot was blocked by Ben White. It was about 8 yards out. Another shot comes in and it cannons away for another corner, and you can hear the distant roar of the travelling Villa fans. The second half so far, exactly the opposite of the first half. It's all Villa.
Well, Ben White just got caught out with the cutback, but then he made up for it. Danny Ings taking his touch to get his shot away and closed down by the defender.
Corner taken short. The cross is swung in from the right corner of the penalty area. Buendia was trying to get there in the penalty area, but it's been brought clear here by Emile Smith-Rowe. Left-hand side, all the way to the halfway line, and Leon Bailey concedes the throw-in right on halfway. So Leon Bailey is on. Missed the last 3 Premier League games. He suffered that thigh injury after that spectacular cameo against Everton at home. He had an assist, and he didn't half strike the ball well for his goal when he was sent through one-on-one. It almost lifted the net out of the Villa Park turf. It was an exhilarating few minutes that he played on, but then he got injured in shooting the ball into the back of the net, and he's been missing ever since. And he could be, if they can keep him fit, a very effective player for Dean Smith's Aston Villa this season. But they trail here after 51 minutes at the Emirates on this Friday night by 2-0. Thomas Partey with a first half header, and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, who saw his injury time penalty saved by Martinez, and he stuck in the rebound for 2-0 on the stroke of half time. Aubameyang just loses out to Matty Cash. A good challenge by the right back, and here's Buendia. He's got Bailey ahead of him. Buendia just retains possession, turned back to his own goal momentarily, tried to slide it into the path of Cash, but it's intercepted, and Cash is now out of position. But Arsenal don't build down that left-hand side with any particular urgency. Partey finds Lokonga. He strides past McGinn, and he's got runners on the right-hand side. Saka is in, right-footed. That's an excellent challenge by Target. He went to ground on the corner of the 6-yard box, a little bit further out. and managed to block the shot, but here come Arsenal again. Lokonga, they look lively and re-engaged here, the Gunners. Lokonga, lovely skill, left-footed effort, that would have crept inside the post, and Martinez is forced into the save, and that's much better from Arsenal, the first time we've seen them attack so far in this second half.
Well, it's brilliantly defensively from target. He gets just outpaced by Saka initially, but he made up for it, and the slide was needed, and it was a good one.
This is an excellent game. Leon Bailey away down the right-hand side now, but the foul has been given. I think Buendia on Partey, and Dean Smith has got his hands on his head because Leon Bailey was away down the right-hand side with Danny Ings to aim for in the penalty area. Buendia looks frustrated. Craig Pawson has stuck to his decision, and Alexandre Lacazette, with his first start in the league this season, has come to the sideline to take a swig of water out of one of the plastic bottles and a quick chat with Mikel Arteta.
Well, Mikel Arteta didn't do anything in that first half. He was just standing there applauding, really. He didn't have to put any instructions onto the pitch because the players were playing so well and dominating. He's already been out 3 times in this second half just to give messages to players, because Villa have started with an energy and a drive and a desire and hunger to try and get back into this game. And so far, matching up has worked. Buendia, twin brothers out there now, because in the first half he didn't have a kick, and all of a sudden he's kind of running the show at number 10.
Long throw taken down the right for Aston Villa by Cash, and he's brought down beautifully by Leon Bailey, but he rather telegraphed the ball out towards Ollie Watkins, intercepted by Tomiyasu, who brings the ball out of the Arsenal defence. It's dropped back to his goalkeeper Ramsdale by Bukayo Saka. He's put under pressure, Ramsdale by Danny Ings, and his clearance up towards the halfway line finds Alexandre Lacazette, who not for the first time is on the ground, clutching I think his right leg this time, but he managed to retain possession for Arsenal, but then it's given away, and here come Aston Villa again. A slightly loose tackle there by Aubameyang. There was no foul awarded. Advantage was being played, and now Lacazette has it in the centre circle, tried to slide it through towards Bukayo Saka, overhits the pass all the way through to Emiliano Martinez. It's breathless stuff out there. Martinez rolls the ball out straight away, and here come Aston Villa down the left-hand side. Villa kicking from left to right here towards Aaron Ramsdale's goal. He's got the all green on with the orange boots on the edge of his 6-yard box. This attack breaks down. Lovely ball out of defence by Tavares, and Aubameyang plays it to Smith Rowe. Smith Rowe towards the penalty area on his right foot, takes a shot, deflected off the post and in. Tyrone Mings just looks at the sky in despondency. I think this will be Emile Smith Rowe's goal, and Arsenal out of nothing take a 3-0 lead here on Friday night against Aston Villa, and Villa have now conceded 6 goals without reply in their last couple of games, and Smith Rowe on target once again, his second Premier League goal of the season.
Well, this is what he's all about. He wins the ball back, McGinn gives it away, and then he just runs down the left-hand channel, and a brilliant ball from Aubameyang, first time into the space. Tyrone Mings is trying to get over, and he says, you know what, I'm going to open myself up and bend it in that far corner. But what he does, he hits it, and Mings just gets the touch. He gets over to put the block on, it hits him on the shin and goes in the opposite corner. Martinez has got no chance. He's already diving for the first shot, hits the post and goes in. And you kind of think that Arsenal probably needed that one because they were under pressure. Villa were well back in the game as far as territory and domination was concerned, but the scoreline now, Arsenal 3 and Villa 0. The game looks done and dusted.
The Arsenal fans in front of us are on their feet applauding Emile Smith Rowe. He puts his 2 hands together in the shape of a heart. The love is reciprocal from the Arsenal Academy product, who Aston Villa tried to sign twice last summer. And Emile Smith Rowe, with his second Premier League goal of the season, his response to staying was to sign a new contract in July. He's Arsenal through and through, and got a bit of luck with the finish. He tried to, as you said, Lee, bend it around Martinez. It took a deflection off the unfortunate Mings, in off the post, and it's 3-0. And Aston Villa's reaction now, because they started the second half really well on the front foot, as we take a little look on our monitors here at Gareth Southgate and Steve Holland, who are watching from high up above. Now what happens to Aston Villa, because they had the late collapse against Wolves, conceding 3 in the last 11 minutes, and they've now conceded 3 here in the first 56 minutes at the Emirates, just as they got a foothold in the game.
Well, we talked about, attacking lineups on both sides, but it's the defence. It's Villa's defence that's been really woeful. In the first half, 3 centre-backs, and then all of a sudden they go to a back 4 and they get caught out again. It's a brilliant ball from Aubameyang, first time to flick the ball into the space, but the space is there because Cash is pushed up, they lose the ball, there's nobody at right back position, and Smith Rowe just wanders into there, onto the ball, and then it takes an age for Mings to come over to close him down. He can't leave the space because he's caught out. He's got a man and he has to come over late. And by that time, Smith Rowe's in the box. He's opening himself up to get the shot away. And there's nothing he can do about the deflection in the end. But caught out in the back 4. Not good enough from Villa's point of view.
Well, coming into the game, they'd only scored 7 goals in 8 games, Arsenal. The lowest at this stage since 1986. That was under George Graham. And they've got 3 already tonight, approaching the hour mark. That shot by Ollie Watkins is blocked by Ben White on the edge of the Arsenal penalty area. Villa have it back. It's McGinn who found Watkins. It's not been Ollie Watkins' night tonight. He just slipped in possession and that gifted the ball back to Arsenal, but they can't take advantage. Throw in on the left-hand side, taken by Tyrone Mings. Back to his goalkeeper, and you can hear the boos for Emiliano Martinez. Well, he served his time, Lee, didn't he? He was here for 9 or 10 years without being the number 1. He got a nice run in the side after an injury to Bernd Leno, and that included winning an FA Cup. He didn't let anybody down, but he couldn't get the assurance that he'd be the number 1 for the following season, so he accepted the £17 million move to Aston Villa. Edge of the Villa penalty area now. McGinn almost caught in possession. He drops it back to Martinez, who calmly plays it out to Matty Cash. Aston Villa have got to make something happen pretty quickly, or this could get ugly tonight. 59.5 minutes on the clock. 5 Live Sport. Lee Dixon and Arlo White with you here at the Emirates. Arsenal 3, Aston Villa 0, and it's an Arsenal throw level with the edge of their own penalty area in the left back position. Taken by Tavares, infield to Gabriel. Back to his goalkeeper Ramsdale along the ground. That's an absolutely sensational ball to Bukayo Saka, and it's going to be a yellow card here to Matt Targett. Saka's ball around the corner was beautiful as well, and had that found Lacazette, I think Craig Pawson would have played an advantage. It didn't, and it's a free kick and a yellow card to Matt Targett. And a free kick to Arsenal in the centre circle.
Great ball from Ramsdale, pinged it along the ground, 40, 50 yards. I was talking to Dave Seaman, my old mate, who's been doing some work with the young goalkeepers at the training ground, and got invited to have a look at some of the talent with gloves on. And he's had a few chats with Ramsdale and watch him training. He said his feet are unbelievably quick when he's doing little drills in his goal to save balls. The quickness of feet, stepping over little hurdles. He said outstanding footwork. Said a bit like you, Dave.
Here come Arsenal again. Aubameyang, edge of the penalty area. His right-footed shot is blocked. It falls here to Lokonga. Wide on the left-hand side is Tavares, who's been excellent, and he sells a dummy to Matty Cash. And Tavares back to the byline inside of Cash. Cash recovers well, doesn't get the clearance away, and then it's stabbed away eventually by Tyrone Mings. And here's Leon Bailey, who's very quick for Aston Villa down the right-hand side. He's thinking about taking on defender Gabriel, but not much has got past him this season, and then he just overdoes it and fouls Bailey. But he's a popular figure here, Gabriel the Brazilian, and it's a free kick, I think, on the touchline, yes, taken quickly by Matty Cash on the right hand side. Last 11 starts for Gabriel. Arsenal are unbeaten, and they've only conceded 6 goals. Arsenal's previous 7 before that, they won 1 and conceded 14. But here's Buendia in the penalty area, an excellent save by Ramsdale. That was the best chance for Aston Villa so far. Lovely ball into Buendia, 7 yards out. Ramsdale spread himself, and it's a corner.
Has to score. He makes a run into the box. He gets away from the midfield player. It's Partey who's marking him. And it's a run from midfield. Good first touch, got to score. There's good defending in the end between Gabriel and Ramsdale, quickly off his line. It really is good defending, but got to hit the net there.
Corner comes in, headed clear at the near post by Tomiyasu. Here's Buendia again, edge of the penalty area, locks it up, it should be Ramsdale's, and it is. The ball in to Buendia by Target was sensational, and once Ramsdale had made the save, he's got the ball in his hands at the moment, he and Gabriel were celebrating that like a goal, and we've seen that creep in a little bit with defenders. That is their job, as you keep telling me, but why not? If you do something like that to preserve a clean sheet, why not celebrate it? And they had looks of real determination on their face, slapping each other's backs, and now it's back to business. Here's Gabriel, left-hand side, fouled by Danny Ings, free kick to Arsenal, a yard inside from the touchline. Gabriel is just slightly shaken down on the ground. The free kick will be level with the edge of the Arsenal penalty area. 62 minutes on the clock, Arsenal 3, Aston Villa 0.
Well, they've just stopped the flow with that goal, haven't they? Because Villa started this second half really, really well, but that goal is just like knocked the wind out of them. It really has. They're still trying, and as I said, probably should have been one goal better off with Buendia's chance. It's a good chance on his left foot, just lift the ball past Ramsdale, but the keeper and Gabriel did well to keep him out. But how many more chances are Villa going to get? They certainly need one soon if they're going to get back into this game at all. And Dean Smith having a chat with his coaches, they're looking down at the substitutes, all warming up on the left-hand side. There's 6 of them, 3 Villa, 3 Arsenal.
Mikel Arteta has come striding out to the edge of his technical area, waving and pointing and gesticulating wildly. Here come Villa down the right-hand side. Matty Cash cuts back. The defender is Smith Rowe, and he plays it a little too firmly into the feet of Leon Bailey. Has to backtrack to retrieve it, and then Bailey, with wonderful vision and technique, sprays a ball out from right flank to left flank to Target. Here's Buendia, left-hand side, rolls the ball into John McGinn. He lays it off first time to Douglas Luiz. In turn it goes to Concert. There's no width at the moment here for Aston Villa down the right-hand side. Here's Cash, who's 10 yards in from the touchline. Back in field he goes to McGinn. Now back to the feet of Matty Cash with a white number 2 on his back towards the edge of the penalty area, trying to weave his way through a couple of challenges with Buendia, but he's dispossessed, and here come Arsenal again. Partey up inside the centre circle, now into the Aston Villa half. Aubameyang on the left-hand side. He has Lokonga to his left. Will the flag stay down? It does. The cross comes in, and this time it's Tyrone Mings at his near post, sliding in on the edge of the 6-yard box to repel the danger. But the clearance falls to Smith Rowe. Square ball to Partey. Arsenal playing full of confidence in possession. Arteta said they lacked composure against Crystal Palace on Monday night. We've seen none of that so far tonight with this 3-goal lead. Here's Gabriel, halfway line. Out to the left-hand side he goes to Smith Rowe. An awkward ball controlled well by the Arsenal youngster. His boots are jet black. That's quite old school, isn't it?
I love him for that. I used to wear as black as I could get them. Sometimes whiten the stripes up with the Adidas when I was playing Adidas, just to make them shine a little bit, but those red and white boots, they're not for me, Arlo, not for me.
Not for you, Lee Dixon. Here come Arsenal again into the penalty area. It's Lacazette spinning in the penalty area and just gets dispossessed in the end. I thought Aubameyang was going to have a shot there on the edge of the area. I wonder if players who wear jet black boots now, it's a foul by Aubameyang, and it's a yellow card for the Gabon striker as well. I wonder if people say to people with jet black boots now, who do you think you are?
Yeah,
you think you're something special, don't you?
Well, look at Lacazette's just seen his boots as well. They're jet black as well. I like it. It looks great.
Yeah, Lacazette is down again. That must be the 4th or 5th time that he's gone to ground.
He's looking over at the physio as well. I think he just gets his first touch. He opens himself up and just gets a little bit of a. He's already waving at the. Just seen the replay there. Sorry, he's just waving straight away at the bench. Something happened, and he waved over at the bench as if to say, "I've got a problem."
Lacazette, yeah, still on the ground. Jacob Ramsey's going to come in meanwhile for Aston Villa. Craig Shakespeare's got a hand on his left shoulder, just giving him some instructions, and I think Martin Odegaard is going to come on for Lacazette. So Alexandre Lacazette got the start, Lee. Hasn't scored, hasn't particularly worried Emiliano Martinez, but Arsenal are 3-0 up, so clearly he's had an effect on the game and something's worked. How would you assess his performance as he makes his way to the sideline, applauding all corners of the Emirates, and everybody here is on their feet applauding back.
Well, that's all I need to say is listen to that lot, because every one of them in this stadium is clapping him. He's brought an energy to this game again. He's linked up the play. He's played in that little number 10 position in the first half, and he's driven this team. Every time they've got the ball, he's been part of the attack. And as you said, Arlo, he hasn't scored, but he's been involved in everything. He's had a good game, and he'll be playing next time out. You can rest assured about that.
Yeah, he was found for the penalty as well, wasn't he, by Matt Target at the end of that first half. Producer Tom just stuck a note in front of me that says that Emil Smith-Rowe, his boot deal ran out, which is, I thought he was making a really good statement with the old school black boots. Turns out the boot deal's run out, so he's got to wait until somebody else throws in some cash and a new pair of boots. But there we go, the fairy tale's over, Lee. The cynicism of modern football.
Well, I won't mention any names here, but I had a boot deal and I didn't like the boots, but they paid me money to wear them, so I wore other people's boots and put the stripes on of the boots I'm supposed to be wearing.
Cash, speaking of which, throws it into the penalty area. It's a loose header.
No, it wasn't cash, it was a cheque. I got found out at Shoot Magazine.
I hope you're ready to pay it back, because it sounds like they need a refund.
I got found out at Shoot Magazine because I was on the front cover a month later and had my foot up, and you could see the real boot's name underneath with a different stripe on the side. Got caught out.
Back in those days, unless you were caught out by Shoot Magazine, you could get away with it, couldn't you?
No social media then.
Here's Ben White in the right back position for Arsenal, who lead by 3-0 here against Aston Villa, and they're trying to play their way out. The press from Villa has been much better and much more organised and energetic in the second half, but I must say Arsenal have played through it quite successfully there. Odegaard trying to slide it with the outside of his left boot through towards Aubameyang, who's now in a more central position further forward in this Arsenal front line in the absence of Lacazette. Down the line from Mings, halfway line, a heavy touch by Danny Ings. Penalty was fouled by Ben White. Craig Pawson disagrees, and it's a throw into Arsenal 10 yards inside the Villa half, taken by Tomiyasu. 5 Live Sport, Arsenal 3, Aston Villa 0. It was 2-0 at the break, and we played 69 and a half minutes here. This result, should it hold, will be good enough to take Arsenal into 9th place tonight, and it will be a 3rd consecutive defeat for Aston Villa, and just starting to sway into worrying territory in this early part of the season. Dean Smith's Arsenal. Here's Cash on the right hand side. Smith 2 yards away from him, just points immediately forward. That's where he wants him to go. In off the right flank is Bailey, rolls it back to McGinn. Thread needle pass to Ramsey. Ramsey goes to the return ball from Danny Ings, and it was just blocked by Gabriel before Ramsey could scamper clear on goal. Partey is surrounded, dispossessed. Bailey has it, gets the shot away, side-footed, straight at Ramsdale. In the end, he was going for that far corner.
Yeah, he give the ball away right on the edge of the box, and he won't be looking over at the bench anytime soon, because his manager wasn't very happy with Lokonga. Just give it away, and Bailey jumped on the ball, got his shot away with his left foot, but again, good hands from Ramsdale.
It was Lokonga who was dispossessed for Palace's first goal the other night, and I think it was Partey for the second goal, wasn't it? Both caught in possession. History almost repeated itself there. Another fabulous ball out by Ramsdale to the right hand side. Here's Odegaard in field, rolls it to his left to Smith-Rowe. Nice build up here by Arsenal, left corner of the penalty area, opens up for Aubameyang, saved to his left hand side by Martinez. It wasn't quite in the corner. Martinez did dive to his left hand side, a reasonably comfortable save. Arsenal still have it though through Partey, right corner of the penalty area. They do look confident tonight, the home side. Odegaard, who dropped to the bench along with Nicola Pepe after that 2-2 draw the other night.
Arteta just saying to his side, calm down, keep possession. It's 3-0 up. Just don't give Villa any chance at all, just keep the ball.
Tavares to the byline, sets it up to the back post. Smith-Rowe, back in it goes. Ramsey with his head concedes yet another corner kick. And since the goal, it's basically been one way again towards Aston Villa's goal.
Well, they're just toying with him again. A little deep ball to the far post, and Arsenal got numbers in the box, but they're not risking everything. They're keeping it tight at the back and just keeping the pressure on Villa. And Aubameyang getting that shot away earlier. One for the photograph album for Martinez. It's one he perhaps could have caught, but he chose to punch it away. Looked spectacular, but a save he should be making very easily.
Only had 6 different loan spells away, Emiliano Martinez. Made just 15 Premier League appearances. And it's behind, it's a header, and Martinez can take a goal kick. And Mikel Arteta wants to make a change here, and he's going to bring Ainsley Maitland-Niles on for Albert Lokonga.
Well, he's played really, really well. That's the best I've seen him play. The link-up, the strength, the protecting your back foot. With Partey, he's been absolutely superb. He should be getting a high five off his manager, and he does. And he should be very satisfied with his night's work, because those two have been the bedrock of everything that Arsenal have done well. They've won the ball back and just fed the talent up front, if you like. And they've delivered 3 goals for him. Well, Partey's got one himself.
So Maitland-Niles in the centre of the park then for Arsenal. Saka wins the ball back off Douglas Luiz, and he's scampering now towards that Aston Villa penalty area. Slides it in towards Odegaard. Good defending in the end to make up for the original error by Tyrone Mings, and he plays it down the left touchline to Douglas Luiz. Luiz between the lines to the halfway line to Ollie Watkins. In the centre circle is Luiz, and he tries to release Watkins down the middle. It's a sliding intervention by Ben White with his left foot, and now Arsenal have the ball back. Right hand side, just inside the Aston Villa half, Odegaard, and all the space here in this attack is over on the left hand side. Tavares has Smith Rowe on his left hand side, edge of the penalty area. Odegaard in. It was a lovely first touch, or almost a beautiful first touch by Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Then it got away from him, and that enabled Martinez to smother the danger. Once again he gets Aston Villa into the attack very, very quickly, and here they come down that left hand side, and it's Ollie Watkins, and he has Ramsey ahead of him, and the cross comes in. It's just over the head of Danny Ings. Gabriel with yet another commanding header. His stature is improving week on week, Lee, isn't it, at centre back alongside Ben White?
Well, it's all about partnerships. That's what being a good defence is about. Your full back and your centre backs, but the two centre backs together, really, really important. I think Ben White likes to play with Gabriel. They complement each other really well. Left foot, right foot, and the two full backs. Tomiyasu's come in as if he's played 200 games for Arsenal. He seems very comfortable there, and obviously Tavares tonight has had a really good game, and somebody's not very happy down there. I've just seen one of the Villa subs just throw his water bottle almost at Dean Smith. So I don't know what's gone on down there.
Morgan Sanson, who's been out injured for quite a while now, who was signed last season, doesn't look happy, and he's hearing it from the Arsenal season ticket holders in front of us. Meanwhile, on the right hand side for Aston Villa is Leon Bailey. 75 minutes on the clock here. 5 Live Sport, Premier League action on this Friday night to start things off on the 9th round of matches. Arsenal 3, Aston Villa 0. Ramsey, square ball to Luiz. Mings along the halfway line to his right hand side to Konsa. Now here's Matty Cash. Leon Bailey, right hand side, having a little run here at Tavares. He's a very skillful player, Bailey. Somehow gets a cross in. Tomiyasu heads it clear. He was anticipating the danger, and it's lofted into the air by Saka, and they're just trying to work the ball out here without it touching the ground at the moment. Arsenal and Aston Villa have a free kick 20 yards outside the penalty area, central position.
Yeah, it's one of them. You say it's a silly foul, but he needs to make the challenge, and it's quite straight. They're central in the pitch, so not an easy one for Villa to put into the box. It'll come in too straight. They might have to move it a little bit wider to get a decent angle, and Arsenal can just set up the way the ball is in the middle of their half. They can just set up on the edge of their 18-yard line. It gives Ramsdale a load of space to come out. Very difficult to drop the ball over the top and it not run out to the goalkeeper.
Anwar El Ghazi is ready to come in for Aston Villa. The free kick meanwhile is taken by Luiz. Short to McGinn. Lovely curling ball towards the back post. Mings is beaten to it. Ramsdale punches it half clear with his right fist, and in the end, I think a foul was signalled by the assistant on the near side. Ben White is on the ground, helped up by a teammate a yard off the goal line.
It was a brilliant header from Ben White. Tyrone Mings was looming behind him. It was whipped in. As I said, they moved the ball out. to McGinn on this right-hand side. He hit it with his left foot first time, and it's angled towards the goal, and Ben White gets his head on it, 2 yards off the line. Ramsdale can't come. It's coming towards him, so Ben White gets a little push in the back from Tyrone Mings, and it's a brilliant defensive header. He's had a good game tonight.
Well, El Ghazi's on the field now, started the first 3 games, an unused substitute in the last 5 until now, so that will mean that Ollie Watkins goes to centre forward. El Ghazi out on the left-hand side, and Ramsey in behind Watkins with Leon Bailey on the right-hand side. They've got a lot to do and not a lot of time to do it here. Aston Villa trailing by 3-0. Ramsdale's distribution from the back with his right foot has been sensational. Found the chest of Tomiyasu. Arsenal still in possession. Rolled to his left-hand side by Partey. That invites Gabriel into possession, approaching the halfway line. He turns to his right-hand side, finds Partey between the lines. Nice incisive ball into the feet of Odegaard, who looks busy since coming onto the field. Odegaard on the overlap on that right-hand side, but it's Saka who cuts in off the right flank. Was he fouled? Craig Dawson says yes. Right corner of the penalty area, about 6 or 7 yards outside the 18-yard box. Free kick to Arsenal.
Yeah, it's good area as well. As you said, just on the point, 5 yards off the point of the corner of the penalty area, and they can get a right or left footer here. It's just 6 or 7 yards outside the box, so Odegaard looks like he's on it with his left foot. Smith Rowe having a chat in his ear, and certainly someone will trying to get round the back. Aubameyang's the furthest one away from the ball at the moment, just trying to press the defence in towards the goal a little bit. Maybe someone, Gabriel, running round the back.
So it could be Smith Rowe with the right foot, it could be Odegaard with the left. Aubameyang is the furthest man back with his toes on the edge of the 18-yard box. Gabriel's in an offside position at the moment. Ben White makes a run to the near post. It's going to be Odegaard, whips it in, but straight to the goalkeeper this time. By the way, full time in the Women's World Cup qualifiers tonight. Good news for Scotland. They've beaten Hungary by 2-1. It's ended Slovenia 1, Wales 1. 79 minutes on the clock here. Arlo White alongside Lee Dixon. Arsenal leading Aston Villa by 3-0. McGinn, left-footed, forward. That was a decent ball towards El Ghazi, just slightly overhit. And once again, Aaron Ramsdale is commanding that penalty area. He doesn't mind coming off his line. His judgment has been sound so far. And I think Arsenal have found themselves potentially a new long-term number 1.
Well, you have to say, Mikel Arteta knew exactly what he was doing, letting Martinez go, and
Smith Rowe, edge of the penalty area, pokes it to his right-hand side. It's Target who just gets it clear before Bukayo Saka could do any damage, and Villa can bring it clear now through the Brazilian international Douglas Luiz. Luiz to the right-hand side. He's asked a lot of Leon Bailey, and he won't be able to keep that ball in play. The ironic jeers from a jubilant set of Arsenal fans down in front of us, and Dean Smith remains arms folded with his white collar sticking out of that black V-neck. And he's having a conversation with someone. Is it Craig Pawson or one of his charges out there? He doesn't look happy at all, and he'll be wondering how the wheels have come off.
Well, nothing's gone right for him tonight. I think they got the tactics wrong in the first half. Arsenal dominated midfield. They had an extra man in there. They didn't sort it out quick enough. And all of a sudden they're going in at half-time. They might say dubious penalty, but it's 2-0 at half-time. Second half, they've come out with a bit more energy. Sorry, Arlo, but then the goal comes and it goes 3-0, and quite frankly, that's about right. It could be 4-0 and he couldn't really complain.
Yep, I think I'm in agreement there, Lee. Ramsdale comes out of his penalty area, the left side of the penalty area. This time he's just content to concede the throw, sprints back to his 6-yard box. He was under pressure from Leon Bailey. 80 minutes on the clock, 10 minutes remaining at the Emirates. Arsenal 3, Aston Villa 0 here on 5 Live Sport. Nice drag back in the midfield by Douglas Luiz, who surges forward, edge of the penalty area. Bailey on his left foot, going to get a shot away. The tackles go flying in. The shot comes in, it's a beautiful goal. Jacob Ramsey gives Aston Villa hope. It broke kindly to him right on the edge of the penalty area, and he curled home a beauty. The goalkeeper Ramsdale didn't move. Ramsey for Villa, Arsenal 3, Villa 1 with 9 minutes remaining.
Well, they could have had Ramsey and Martinez in goal then, and they wouldn't have saved it. Just ran away from Bailey, takes a touch, and it just falls right on the edge of the box, right in the middle, on the 18-yard line, and he's waiting for it, and he just says, you know what, I'll have this, leave it, and he bends it right into the top corner. And Bailey's trying to get his shot away, but there's just a little bit of a gap, and he steps in, and it's an absolute perler. What a goal.
Jacob Ramsey gave away the late free kick that led to the winning goal for Wolves last weekend. It's his first goal for Aston Villa, got his first England under-21 cap during the last break. A player who joined Aston Villa at the age of 6. What a moment for him, scoring his first goal, and that's given the visitors hope. 8 minutes remaining, Arsenal's lead cut to 3-1, and another goal in the next few minutes would make it all rather interesting, Lee.
Interesting for who? Well, certainly for Dean Smith, and you have to say it's come out of the blue, that goal. They put a bit of pressure on the second half, but Arsenal in total dominance.
Villa throwing, launched into the penalty area, and Ollie Watkins wasn't far away from that. Dean Smith can't believe that his striker hasn't made contact on the edge of the 6-yard box. It was launched in, Watkins virtually unmarked, and he just couldn't make any contact.
Well, that was a long throw. We've gone back to the long ones again, and it bounces 5 yards out, right in front of the goal. Ramsdale can't do anything about it. He thinks one of his defenders is going to head it, and Watkins nearly got his foot on it, and that would have been embarrassing if it had gone in. So close.
Well, he did get something on it. I do him a disservice, but it went way wide, didn't it? What an opportunity to score a second goal within a matter of minutes and to set up a grandstand finish here at the Emirates. It's not been Ollie Watkins' night tonight. Remember, he scored 3 goals against Arsenal as Villa did the double over the Gunners last season, including 2 here in November in a 3-0 win. Partey for Arsenal inside the centre circle, and he finds Odegaard. Square ball to Partey, who got things started in the first half with that first goal for Arsenal. Here's Maitland-Niles, back to Smith Rowe. Partey, Odegaard trying the combination with Maitland-Niles on the edge of the penalty area. There's a foul committed by an Arsenal player on Luis, and it's a free kick to Aston Villa with 6 minutes remaining for stoppage time.
Oh, Luis, what are you doing? He's just picked the ball up in disgust because he wanted the earlier free kick. He didn't get it, and then he threw himself to the ground and got a fortunate one from Craig Pawson. And then he's saying, you've got to go back with the ball, so he's thrown the ball back at his goalkeeper and got a yellow card for it. Well done.
A yellow card from your own free kick. Not easy to do.
Oh, it's frustration. He's been chasing shadows in that midfield. Luis with McGinn have not got really anywhere near a red shirt. Second half a little bit better, but overall they've been outnumbered and outfought in that central midfield area.
Ollie Watkins had a little flick out there at Gabriel. I think Craig Pawson spotted it, didn't see anything too untoward. Leon Bailey, edge of the area, played down to John McGinn, edge of the Arsenal penalty area. It's a crunching tackle by Gabriel, a fair one as well. And McGinn is slightly slow to his feet, but I think there's a man who appreciates a good tackle when he sees one. And that was excellent defended by Gabriel, because John McGinn, I think his eyes lit up there, thinking he might be able to get a strike on goal from just inside the penalty area. Villa with the ball, and there's lots of space here on the right-hand side for Leon Bailey. Where is the Arsenal backline at the moment? Gabriel with another good challenge, and then there's a sliding challenge on the edge of the penalty area. Smith Rose, no foul. Leon Bailey stayed on the ground. He took a close look at that, Craig Pawson. Gabriel's going to kick the ball out of play, and it's a nervous-looking Dean Smith. We know about Leon Bailey's recent injury issues, and he's on all fours at the moment. I think the Villa faithful might feel that was a free kick. Craig Pawson absolutely adamant that it wasn't. And Bailey is just slow to his feet, but he's on his feet, just limping on that left leg. But what a challenge that was on the edge of the penalty area by Gabriel.
And McGinn thought he was going to get his shot away, and Gabriel came from nowhere like someone shot him out of a cannon. And he made the tackle. He chose to go to ground. And Smith Rowe as well getting involved in the tackles on the edge of the box. And what you do, you manage the game from here. If you're Arsenal, they've already given a goal away, 4 minutes plus injury time left. You manage the game, you don't give anything away, play nice and safe. That doesn't mean dropping off, it just means keeping the ball, passing to red shirts.
Well, Aston Villa's away form this season. I think the late win at Old Trafford has masked what is becoming an issue. This will be a 4th defeat. They've lost at Chelsea, they lost at Watford, they've lost at Tottenham, and it looks like they're going to slide to defeat here again in North London, this time against Arsenal. But there is still time, 3.5 minutes plus stoppage. Matty Cash has a free kick, 15 yards inside the Arsenal area towards the right-hand side. Arsenal defending 5 yards outside their penalty area. And there's no Aston Villa player challenging for that free kick as it was sent into the box. But now Matt Targett is going to have the opportunity with a throw-in. No, it's going to be an Arsenal throw on that far side as time ticks down. Dean Smith is still unmoved, arms folded, edge of his technical area. Mikel Arteta is going to be delighted with this after those two draws. The 0-0 down at Brighton and the 2-2 against Crystal Palace. This will be no defeats in 6 for Arsenal, just starting to build a bit of momentum after that horrible start when they lost the opening 3.
Yeah, totally different performances as well.
Here come the Gunners in search of a 4th goal. Smith Rowe, he has Tavares on his outside, another lung-busting run from him, and a low cross is cleared by Tyrone Mings, and the home fans have really warmed to the effort and quality that Nuno Tavares has brought to the left-back position in the absence of Kieran Tierney.
Well, big boots to fill as well. How he gets forward, Tierney, time and time again. But when you look at his injury record, he does pick up a lot of injuries. So, keep yourself fit, Tavares. You'll probably be needed quite a lot this season. He needs to learn how to take a throw-in, by the way.
Oh dear, that on the Lee Dixon scale, that's a week's wages gone.
That's 2 weeks.
Foul throw.
That should be 2 weeks. He didn't even put the ball anywhere near the back of his head then. It's almost like a shot, a basketball shot.
So Tavares is going to get, what, an 8.5 out of 10, but fined 2 weeks wages for the late foul throw.
I saw him do one in the first half and didn't mention it. I thought I'll let him get away with that, but that one was terrible.
It's up there in terms of crimes in football with the corner not beating the first man at the near post. You don't like that one either,
No, I don't like that one, but a foul throw is worse. It's the easiest thing in the world to do. Put the ball behind your head and throw it forward.
We're heading towards stoppage time here, 88.5 minutes. Arsenal with a 3-1 lead against Aston Villa. John McGinn with a throw on the right-hand side. Leon Bailey not moving well at all. Just limping on that right leg after the challenge a few moments ago just outside that Arsenal penalty area. Here's Douglas Luiz in the centre circle. Square ball to Ramsey, the goal scorer for Aston Villa, and he gives it away. That was a poor ball by him. And Saka comes clear, and if he can spot Aubameyang on the left-hand side, he'd be clean through. But in the end, he's given the ball away, and Tyrone Mings has it on the left corner of his own penalty area. Square ball to Konsa. They've got to get the ball forward pretty quickly here. Aston Villa trailing by 3-1. We're yet to see the board for stoppage time held aloft. Ball down the line is a good one by Cash. Ollie Watkins, 3 yards inside from the touchline, drops it back to Bailey, right corner of that Arsenal penalty area. Back into the feet of Ollie Watkins, towards the penalty area he goes, stabs the ball out to Luiz, outside of the right boot, floats it out to the left side of the penalty area to Ramsey. Oh, there's a slip, and Ramsey has a chance, and he puts it wide. There was a slip in the penalty area by an Arsenal defender, might have been Partey, and Ramsey had an opportunity with the left foot but couldn't get the shot on target.
Yeah, he read it, Partey, but he slipped. As you said, his right foot just goes from underneath him, and it's a snapshot from Ramsey. The right foot shot into the top corner was easy. That one was a little bit more difficult, and he snaps at it. 4 minutes of injury time, and I'm just looking down, and Aubameyang's gone down. He's getting some cramp treatment from Konsa, who's doing the international relieve the cramp move of pressing the toes.
Are there no fines for getting cramp, by the way?
No, we've all
on the Dixon scale.
We've all had cramp. We're allowed a bit of cramp now and again. He's put a shift in, to be fair to him.
Yeah, and he's going to limp off here, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, who scored that rebound from his own penalty that was saved by Martinez in first half stoppage time. He applauds all corners of the Emirates. Gets a hug from Emile Smith-Rowe. Aubameyang has scored in 4 consecutive home games now in the Premier League. 4 goals in total in the Premier League, 7 in all competitions, and he's replaced by Gabriel Martinelli for the closing stages here. As Lee mentioned, 4 minutes of time added on, so Martinelli is on. All 3 substitutions made by Mikel Arteta.
I hope that's not his clutch foot on his Lamborghini. He won't be able to drive home.
We've often seen that driving out of the Emirates. It's quite blingy, isn't it? He's got
wrapped gold.
Yes, wrapped gold. There you go. So deep into stoppage time now. It's been a very impressive performance by Arsenal. They led 2-0 at the interval. Mikel Arteta still waving and shouting at his players just to make sure they see this out successfully. Emile Smith-Rowe, after a good response by Aston Villa at the start of the second half. That's a late challenge by Maitland-Niles on John McGinn. No harm done though, it's just a free kick. I think he slipped in making that challenge, Maitland-Niles. And John McGinn, fair play to him, didn't make a big deal of it. And it's a free kick, 15 yards inside their own half, to be taken by the goalkeeper, who's roundly booed here, Emiliano Martinez. But it was the Smith-Rowe goal, deflected off Tyrone Mings, that was the clincher really. Jacob Ramsey with a right-footed curler into the top corner at the moment, just a consolation for Aston Villa. Martinelli tried to get there ahead of John McGinn, who just lends into the young Brazilian, eased him off the ball, and now McGinn into the Arsenal half. To the right touchline, and Leon Bailey, who's running okay now, running here at Tavares. Bailey with number 31 on his back, cuts back left corner of the area, and he's fouled by Tavares. And this is a free kick, dangerous area here for Aston Villa, 3 or 4 yards outside of the penalty area, just in from the corner of the box.
Well, sometimes you don't have to win the ball. He'd done everything right. He stopped him putting the cross in, he'd marked him tight. You don't have to win the ball. He wasn't going anywhere. Now all of a sudden he's given a dangerous free kick away, 3 or 4 yards outside the penalty area. A bit of an angle on this right hand side, and Bailey standing over it as if he's going to hit it with his left foot, and Ramsey standing as if he's going to hit it with his right foot. So they've got options here. A little wall just put in front of the wall. 2 Villa players trying to block the view of Ramsdale.
Yeah, so we've got the 2 centre-backs, Mings and Konsa, who are in front of a 4-man Arsenal wall. Douglas Luiz is standing over the ball. He's the possible taker with the right foot, but it looks like Leon Bailey has placed the ball down now, stepped away, and he could take this left-footed. Craig Pawson happy that the wall, well, not quite happy, he's stepping towards the wall again. I think he's just put some more spray down for Odegaard on the right-hand side of that wall. So here we go. This could make it very interesting in the last knockings here. Luiz steps away from the ball now. The whistle blows from Craig Pawson. Leon Bailey, left-footed, looks good. It wasn't far away. Ramsdale was diving away to his left-hand side, and he punches the air as the ball goes wide at the fans behind the goal, and that should just about do it. But that was a decent free kick from Leon Bailey.
Well, he was left-footed, it had dip, he had power, just a little bit over the bar, but certainly had Ramsdale interested. Flew across and probably would have got it, to be fair to him. He was so quick to make that dive, but probably about 6 or 7 inches just over the top of the crossbar.
And that's the cue for a lot of the Arsenal fans in delight to flip up their seats and head for the exits, rather than actually applaud their team's performance at the end of this game. But there's Friday night socialising to be done. Long kick forward by Ramsdale, headed clear by Mings. The whistles have started in the crowd for the full-time whistle. It's an impressive performance tonight from Arsenal, and Mikel Arteta, pointing to his watch, wants to know why the full-time whistle hasn't gone yet. Craig Pawson allows play to go on. A throw-in taken down the right-hand side. It's hooked clear by Gabriel once again, and that'll do it. 2 fists in the air for Mikel Arteta. They are 6 unbeaten now. Arsenal, they climb to 9th place in the table. Worryingly for Aston Villa, they've lost 3 in a row. Lee Dixon, your full-time thoughts?
Well, a really good dominant performance from Arsenal, especially in that first half. Second half, Villa obviously had a little bit of a telling off at half-time. They came out the traps a little bit better in the second half, bit more energy about them, changed the system, went back to a back 4, and it gave them a little bit of impetus, but the third goal just killed them off. And in the end, the consolation goal from Ramsey, but they were totally dominated in midfield from the start of this game. Real good performances throughout the Arsenal team. Makonga, that's the best I've seen him play, certainly. Tavares, Smith-Rowe playing his part, but Lacazette, that energy we saw the other night was there again, and Mikel Arteta will be very, very pleased with that performance. Won't be happy with giving a goal away, but 3-1, more than enough to take 3 points.
Massive improvement, Darren, on Monday night for Arsenal. Worrying times, I think, for Aston Villa. Final score, Arsenal 3, Villa 1.